He's an idiot, but in the drill instructor's eyes, he's a genius. Although his IQ is only 75, his life is practically one insane stroke of luck. As a kid, he taught his neighbor to dance. After the neighbor learned, he went on TV and became famous overnight. Later, everyone called him Elvis Presley. In school, he was chased around by bullies and had to run for his life. He had no choice but to escape into a football field. It turned out he was so fast that a coach noticed him, got him a college scholarship, and even made him into an all-star national team player. He casually invested in a fruit shop, only to find out he had more money than he could ever spend. Later he learned that company was called Apple. His name is Forrest Gump. As a child, because of a naturally curved spine, he could only walk with leg braces, and he would fall down from time to time. A single-parent family plus poor health. Forrest's life started out full of misfortune, so he often got strange looks from people around him. But no one would have guessed that this simple-minded kid would one day become the pride of the entire nation. When he reached school age, his mother wanted Forrest to go to the best school in town, but the principal pulled out an IQ test. To get in, your IQ had to be at least 80, which was considered normal, but Forrest only had 75. According to government requirements, Forrest should go to a special school, but his mother knew that Forrest couldn't afford to lose out on education too. There had to be another way.
Is that Mr. Gum? Mrs. Gum?
He's on vacation.
For Forrest's future, his mother chose to sell herself. Strange cries pierced the night, and Forrest just sat dumbly at the door. He didn't know what was happening, but he could vaguely sense that the principal wasn't a good man. At night, his mother read stories to Forrest as usual, but Forrest asked, "What did you mean by vacation today? And where exactly did Daddy go on vacation?"
Where Daddy went.
Vacations when you go somewhere and you don't ever come back.
Luckily, even without a father, Forrest and his mother weren't completely alone. His mother's family had left behind a big house, which was always full of tenants. People came and went, so it was lively. His mother collected the rent and prepared meals for everyone. One day, a young man carrying a guitar case moved in. He noticed Forrest had a real gift for dance. Even with leg braces on, he had an incredible sense of rhythm. They often rehearsed a special hip-swinging dance together. 2 months later, Forrest went shopping with his mother, and was surprised to see that young man perform that dance on TV. Later, everyone called him Elvis Presley. Soon came the first day of school. His mother told him to study hard, but as soon as he got on the bus, because Forrest looked dull and slow, and wore embarrassing leg braces, none of the other kids wanted to sit with him. There were plenty of empty seats, but not one place where Forrest could sit. It was at that moment that Forrest heard the most beautiful voice of his life.
You can sit here if you want.
I had never seen anything so beautiful in my life. She was like an angel.
Jenny was the complete opposite of Forrest. She was very smart. After just a few words, she realized there was something different about Forrest.
Stupid or something.
Still, Forrest never felt inferior because of that. As his mother said, only people who do stupid things are stupid, and he never did stupid things. From that day on, Jenny and Forrest were inseparable. Jenny taught Forrest how to climb trees and how to read, but most of the time, they just sat quietly waiting for the stars to appear. Jenny was Forrest's best friend, and also his only friend. Yet, for some reason, Jenny never wanted to go home. People thought Forrest would never learn to walk properly, but then, on that day, a miracle appeared in his childhood. 3 bullies targeted Forrest. They hit him on the forehead with a rock and drew blood. Jenny couldn't stop them, so she just yelled at Forrest to run, but the bullies wouldn't let him go. They chased after him on their bikes.
Run, Forrest, run!
But how could Forrest, who could barely walk straight, possibly run? Forrest looked back. The bullies were getting closer and closer. The spinning wheels were like a miserable fate, about to crush and tear him apart. Jenny's shouting and her heart-stopping screams echoed in his ears. Right then, a miracle happened. Time seemed to stand still. Forrest was amazed to find that his once stiff legs suddenly came alive. The leg braces snapped off, torn away by his powerful muscles, scattering on the ground. Forrest gained the most valuable treasure in his life. He ran like the wind, and instantly left the 3 bullies far behind. From that day on, wherever Forrest wanted to go, he ran there. One day, Forrest came to play with Jenny as usual, but Jenny quickly pulled him into a cornfield. Jenny also grew up in a single-parent family, though she lost her mother at a young age, and her house was very rundown. In Forrest's eyes, Jenny's father loved her very much, because he often kissed her and touched her, but reality was the opposite. Jenny's father was a lazy, drunk farmer. He took out all his frustrations in life on his children. That day, for no reason, he got angry and was about to beat Jenny. Luckily, the police arrived in time. Jenny never had to live with her father again. Even though her grandmother's house was also very dilapidated, at least it was close to Forrest's house. Whenever thunderstorms came at night, Jenny would sneak upstairs and sleep beside Forrest. Jenny said she was very scared. Forrest didn't really understand what she was afraid of, but he knew they were best friends. All the way through middle school, the two stayed together. The bullies from childhood had grown into young thugs. To catch up with Forrest, they even bought an old car. This time, Forrest had no way out, so he turned and ran down a small path, which turned out to be a college football field. Forrest ran so fast that he easily outpaced everyone on the field. The coaches saw the whole thing.
Who in the hell is that?
That there's Forrest Gump, Coach. Just a local idiot.
And can you believe it? I got to go to college too.
Even though Forrest seemed like a complete idiot to others, he was the fastest idiot around. The moment the ball was handed to Forrest, everyone cheered for this rising star. Forrest didn't really know what was happening. He just heard everyone shouting for him to run, so he kept running. He didn't stop even after crossing the finish line. With Forrest on the team, the coach's football team won one championship after another. Jenny wasn't with Forrest. She went to a women's college, so Forrest went to see her whenever he could. Jenny often came back riding in someone else's car. Forrest saw a man on top of her, and vaguely heard Jenny crying out in pain, so Forrest rushed up and beat the man up badly, because Forrest wouldn't let anyone hurt Jenny. But that, of course, ruined Jenny's date. Jenny was about to scold Forrest, but Forrest just said,
Brought me some chocolate. I'm sorry.
Jenny couldn't do anything about it. After all, Forrest didn't understand anything. College life flew by. Most of the time, Forrest played football, because he was so outstanding. He was even nominated to the All-Star team. Graduation followed soon after. Forrest got his college degree as he had wished. His mother was incredibly proud of her son, and on that very day, Forrest received his draft notice. Fresh out of college, without a moment's rest, Forrest hurried off to military life. Awkwardly enough, he faced the same problem as in childhood. On the bus, no one wanted to sit with him, except for Bubba. Bubba was Forrest's kindred spirit. Bubba grew up in a bayou, where his family had shrimped for generations. Even though he had always been a servant, Bubba's dream was to own his own shrimping boat. He loved shrimping, and he also became the third most important person in Forrest's life.
Go! What's your sole purpose in this army?
To do whatever you tell me, Drill Sergeant?
God damn it, Gump! You're a goddamn genius. That's the most outstanding answer I've ever heard. You must have a goddamn IQ of 160. You are goddamn gifted, Private Gump.
In Forrest's eyes, military life was simple. He didn't have to think, he just had to follow orders. When the drill instructor told him to assemble a rifle, he just kept assembling it, and each time he broke the company record. When the instructor told him to polish his boots, Forrest made them shine like mirrors. The nights in the army were a little lonely. Forrest would think of his mother, and also miss Jenny. Then his roommate handed him a magazine. Forrest was surprised to see Jenny in it. Forrest thought Jenny must be in trouble, so during his time off, he went to the theater shown in the magazine, and finally saw Jenny on stage. Forrest smiled, because he saw Jenny singing on stage with a guitar. Jenny had once said that was her dream, but reality was cruel. The audience below treated her like a clown, mocking Jenny on stage. That got on Forrest's nerves. The next second, he beat the heck out of a customer. Jenny lost her job at the theater too. The truth was, Jenny didn't want things to be this way. She wanted to climb up through her own efforts, but found the path upstream had already been blocked. Jenny felt she and Forrest weren't the same kind of people. If Forrest stayed with her, he would only be dragged down. But Forrest said,
They sending me to Vietnam. This is whole other country.
So you promise me something, okay? Just if you're ever in trouble, don't try to be brave. You just run, okay? Just run away.
Okay.
Jenny told Forrest that if he was ever in danger, he had to run away immediately. Forrest said he would write to her often. The two said goodbye once again in their lives. Forrest was heartbroken, but at least he had his mother with him.
You come back safe tonight.
And so, Forrest went off to war, not really understanding what was happening. It was then that he met Lieutenant Dan. Lieutenant Dan was handsome, charming, and very funny. He had military blood running through his veins. All of his ancestors had died in various wars. Because of that, everyone respected Lieutenant Dan deeply. It was his pride. He wanted to die on the battlefield, just like his forefathers. Life on the battlefield wasn't the hail of bullets Forrest had imagined. They mostly patrolled and marched forward. It was even a little boring. That continued until the rainy season. The rainy season in Vietnam lasted over 4 months. They had to march in the rain every day. Later, they were even submerged in water for days on end. One night while resting, Bubba had a very important question for Forrest. He asked Forrest if he wanted to go shrimping with him. Forrest happily agreed. Bubba was overjoyed, because he had already planned everything out. After the war ended, they would take out a loan to buy a shrimping boat. They would just live on the boat. That way it would be convenient for shrimping, and they'd save on rent. All the income would be split 50-50, and of course, they could eat as much shrimp as they wanted. Forrest thought that was the best idea in the world. Forrest also wrote about it to Jenny. He wrote to Jenny every day to express how much he missed her. One letter every day, never stopping. But Jenny never wrote back. She had become a traveling singer, wandering from place to place with her friends. One day, the heavy rain suddenly stopped, and the next second, countless shells came flying in. Forrest's platoon was ambushed. Overwhelming firepower instantly shattered their formation. Lieutenant Dan shouted to retreat. In a daze, Forrest thought he heard Jenny's voice. Jenny had told him that if danger ever came, Forrest should not worry about anything except running. On the battlefield with shells flying and bullets raining down, Forrest started running again. It was what he did best. He ran through the dense jungle. When he looked back, there was no one behind him.